Hitman, now streaming on Netflix, is utterly pointless. Brace yourself for an underwhelming experience. This movie is about Gary Johnson, played by Glenn Powell, who somehow figures out that he can become whoever he wants by simply believing he's that person. Thrilling, isn't it? Prepare for a dull journey of predictable plot twists and uninspired character development. Enjoy if you can. This movie boasts a current Rotten Tomatoes rating of 96% from critics and 93% from the audience. What in the world is wrong with people? Hitman is a dull, non-action, non-thrilling, predictable movie that lacks any antagonist and keeps everyone out of harm's way. Let's delve into the unnecessarily overrated movie Hitman, now streaming on Netflix. The movie starts by introducing us to Gary Johnson, a college teacher who bizarrely moonlights as an undercover hitman for the police. He sets people up by pretending to be a hitman, meets his clients, and promptly gets them arrested. Because, that's totally believable.
Officers are on the scene.
Get your hands behind your back. Papers and registration, please.
What police department would risk endangering civilians like this? At some point, Gary meets Madison Figueroa Masters, played by Adria Arjona, and instantly falls in love with her. It's all so painfully predictable. Gary somehow talks Madison out of hiring him, which makes his team, the real cops, suspicious about how he let her slip through the cracks. Then, Gary and Madison meet again and start developing feelings for each other.
Oh no!
Of course, Gary still has to keep up his tough hitman act. When Gary is pretending to be Ron, his confidence skyrockets, and suddenly he's not the nerdy professor he tends to be in real life. Gary is so oblivious to Madison's true intentions that he doesn't realize she's manipulating him to learn the ins and outs of murder and crime scene staging. And guess what happens next? Ron and Madison get caught at a bar by her estranged husband. Yes, they're still married despite her lies about being divorced, and he gives them a piece of his mind. Gary, posing as Ron, decides to escalate things by pulling a gun on Madison's husband and telling him to back off.
I said no!
This incident somehow leads the husband to seek Gary's services and attempt to hire him and his team. But of course, Gary's dim-witted colleagues don't find any of this suspicious at all. Meanwhile, Madison takes matters into her own hands and actually kills her husband for real. Gary's team eventually finds out about the murder.
Oh my God! I cannot believe what I just saw.
Somehow, through the magic of movie making, Gary confesses his true identity to Madison. They argue, then join forces to deceive his team and eliminate the harmless fake antagonist. Gary concludes that he can adopt the persona of a real undercover hitman, murder a cop, pocket a cool $1 million from the widow's insurance, have a family, keep his teaching job, and supposedly live happily ever after. And that's Hitman, summed up. A movie where nobody was ever in any real danger. The actors and actresses in this movie were, without a doubt, the most enjoyable part. Glenn Powell as Gary, masquerading as Ron, was surprisingly convincing and somewhat heroic. He did the best he could with what he was given. Adria Arjona as Madison Figueroa Masters was forgettable.
Ew!
Her introduction practically screamed killer from the get-go. Retta as Claudette played another typical role, as expected. The cast seems to be the main reason why this movie received high ratings from the audience. It's still unclear how this film managed to score such high praise from the critics. What I liked about the movie was the concept of a mundane college teacher dabbling in the world of undercover hitmen. Just your average, bizarre plot. It seemed like there might be intriguing twists and actual danger ahead for the character, promising dynamic growth and change. However, the movie opted for comedy, which felt out of place and poorly executed. This movie would have benefited from taking itself more seriously and allowing humor to flow naturally, instead of forcing unfunny moments. The main lesson I learned from Hitman, now streaming on Netflix, is the importance of having a well-defined antagonist with clear motives throughout the story. This movie barely had an antagonist, and when they finally showed up at the end, it was too little, too late.
Damn!
Apparently, others enjoyed this movie for its aesthetics, attractive cast, frequent sex scenes,
Yes.
and the lack of alternatives during summertime. This movie is mostly aimed at teenagers and college students.
Money.
I would recommend it to female college students, especially those in sororities, who are currently enjoying their summer break. The MPAA rated this movie R, primarily for its intense sex scenes,
Yes.
firearms, and subject matter.
I said no!
Hitman, now streaming on Netflix, was directed by Richard Linklater, known for some genuinely good movies like Boyhood, which garnered several Oscar nods back in 2015.
Damn.
Overall, my rating for Hitman, now on Netflix, is a solid 4 out of 10.
Damn.